Okay, I think we are live. All right. Hi everyone, it's Global Scholarships and I'm your host Az. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everything is going great. And as always, we are here with another weekly live stream, another Friday, another live stream. If you are new here, we do live streams every Friday. We do Q&As, we talk about like scholarships, etc., etc. And as always, of course, I'm here joined by our expert, Eamon. Hi Eamon, how are you? How are things going with you?
Hi, Az. I'm doing well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well too. Thank you very much. So, everyone, if you're new here, we are Global Scholarships. We have a website, we have a YouTube channel, we have a TikTok account. As you can see, basically, we share a lot of information about scholarships, about studying abroad, about opportunities that you might have that are, for example, open right now. There are some scholarships that just opened for application. We're going to talk about those, or like if you have any questions, this is kind of like Q&A live stream. Just make questions a little detailed, okay? So like because in like for vague questions we can just only give like generic answers, but if you give us like more detail about your situation, maybe we can help you a little better. That's why we have an expert here, Ayman. So yeah, other than that, we're going to talk about like scholarships. We have a website where you can get a whole lot of information about like scholarships, about studying abroad, that sort of thing. We have a search tool where you can see what scholarship options that you have in different countries, or different universities. Perhaps, for example, if you have a country in mind that you want to study in, you can just type in, let's say, France, right? Um, so it is going to show you all the scholarships that we have in that country. Not that many scholarships in France, because in a lot of European countries. Hi there, renegades. Welcome to our live stream. I want to study in United States. So thing about United States is United States by far offers the most scholarships that you will find. For example, let me share the link with you so you can look for yourself as well. But let's also take a quick look. So we have about 4,500 scholarships in our database. And if we filter for United States, you'll see about almost 2,000 of them. Hi there, James Bond. What question? Just remind me, please. I'm from India, currently studying in class 12. So if you want to study in, as you can see, we have about like 2,000 scholarships in our database that is from United States. Not a lot of them are bachelors. So we have 1,000. Now, there are a lot of scholarships in United States, but one thing that you have to keep in mind that is that USA is very expensive. Not only to live in, like especially if you want to study in places like New York, California, or other like crowded places, those are really really expensive. Like living costs can really just skyrocket in an instant. But also in United States, a lot of universities offer charges tuitions like let's see, $60,000. Like it's usually between $30,000 and $60,000. So it is kind of difficult to be able to afford unless you have a lot of money uh, to study there. So it is really expensive, which is why you really need to find a scholarship to be able to study there. And they offer a lot of scholarships, but not all of them are full funding. So yes, there are a lot of budget-friendly countries in Europe. We're going to talk about those in a second. So in Europe, for example, Germany, Italy, France, we've just seen like in France there are very few scholarships. In Italy as well, and that's mainly because like the universities also already are very affordable. Like this is Sorbonne. Yeah, as you can see, no tuition. Like Sorbonne is one of the best universities in Europe. Like it is. I think it would like in Europe it is as famous as like MIT or like Cambridge or other universities. It's really like it has graduated some of the most famous scientists in its time, and it's free. So yeah, there are not that many scholarships in Europe, but it's also mainly because it's really affordable. Like you don't have to pay like $40,000, $50,000 for tuition. So yeah. Um, what would be the best place to go for undergraduate studies? So yeah, not hex. That's something we talked about. Like, if you can give us a little bit more information about yourself, about like what you want to study, like your situation. Like, it kind of depends. Right now, USA, or normally it would be like places like USA, Canada, Australia, they were like the main countries that people who want to study abroad would go for. But recently, those places have become much, much, much less welcoming to foreign students, and they're also very expensive. Like, because there is a huge demand for their education. They, like, the universities offers, they charge insane tuition fees, about like 40, 50, $60,000. So in Europe, you can look into France. Can you say these prices in rupee? I think we can. I think you can just type in like USD to rupees. And like, yeah, so it should be really easy to convert these. Like, I mean, I can tell you this in rupees. It's zero. Like, when it comes to something like, let's say, $40,000, it's about, let's see, it's about 3.5 million, right? When it is, if it's 60, it's, yeah, you can see, they're very, very expensive. Hang on, can you help me how to get global scholarships from global school? Do you mean our external scholarship, or so? Um, yeah, global scholarships also offers its own scholarship. I think that's what you mean. Like this $3,000 external scholarship. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't have a lot of information on this because that's something a bit more had to do with like the actual company, and I'm more interested in like YouTube and like content stuff. So perhaps Eamon can give us a little bit more information, or James Bond, if you have any specific questions about like what type of information you would appreciate. Maybe that would be easier for Eamon. Renegade says, I'm a student in class 12 and I'm a student of science stream PCM. So yeah, also Not Hex says, I want to study engineering, need financial aid. I just want the best education to make worthwhile for me to go out of my country. Yes, like it is like you, either Roy, it's great to see you. Like, you shouldn't just go and study abroad just to go and study abroad. And if you're gonna do that, and if you are looking for, I want to be able to say I studied abroad, I studied in another country, I think USA would be a bad choice for that, because even if you are extremely frugal, if you spend like no money, $0 every month, you'll still have to pay about like tens of thousands of dollars every year, which will incur you a lot of could incur you a lot of student debt, and like there are very little chances that it will be worth it. But you could go to Europe, you could go to Germany, let's say. In a lot of universities in Germany, you don't have to pay any tuition fees. So like even the best universities, some of the best universities here, you don't have to pay any tuition fees. And I'm gonna give you a nice little insight. So, so normally people are looking for full funding scholarships, right? And full funding scholarships are like very generous. They cover tuition, they give you a stipend, they cover accommodation, etc., etc. But they're very rare. And like in places like Germany, France, Italy, like very affordable places, you don't really find a lot of those. Countries don't really offer. Italy does. Italy does offer a couple of full funding scholarships. But what you could do and what you should do is go to Germany and look for partial scholarships. Because even though partial scholarships only offer you about like $1,000, €1,000 a month, like €500 a month or something like that, they don't cover your tuition fees. because tuition fees does not exist in the first place. Tuition fees do not exist in a lot of these universities. Like if you want to go and study in RWTH Aachen University, this is a great opportunity for you. For example, this is available for bachelors as well. Like it will give you about like 6,000 euros per semester, right? When you look at it at face value, it looks like it's a partial scholarship. It's not a full funding scholarship. It is not as attractive as a full funding scholarship. But that is only because Aachen University does not charge tuition fees. So it cannot be full funding scholarship because it cannot charge a tuition fee that doesn't exist. Do you understand? So I would look into partial funding scholarships in Europe. In a lot of times, they'll be better for you than a lot of full tuition or full funding scholarships in the United States. All right. Um, James Bond says, I applied for this, but I didn't get any confirmation mail or anything. You're from Turkey, right? How's the education there? One of my friend got full funding scholarship there. So first, let's talk about the more comfortable subject that is the scholarship. Eamon, do you have any information about this? Like they applied for our scholarship but did not get any confirmation mail or anything. Is that normal?
Um, yes, so we only email people who are shortlisted.
Oh,
We get a lot of applications. So if you have applied, we've definitely gone through your application. It's just that you weren't shortlisted, and we have already announced the winner for this year. So if anyone wants to apply, they would apply for next year's scholarship, which will be awarded around June or July uh, of 2026.
okay. Thank you. So, let's talk about. They're aiming for next year. Do you want to add anything? Is that pretty much the same?
Um, yeah, so if you have an acceptance letter from a university, you are an international student, you have filled out the form and you have written the essay, then yeah, so your application has gone through and you are eligible. It just depends on other applicants and uh how good their applications are. And yeah, so it all depends on that from there. Since you did all of that, I think you've done everything right, and we'll go through your application. And if you're shortlisted, you will be contacted.
Okay. Thank you. So let's talk about renegades. I'll get back to your question, but first let's talk about James Bond's question. So education in Turkey is it's a bit complicated. So there are great universities in Turkey. Uh, it's not Amon. Are you not? You're not from. As far as I know, you're not from any Targaryen family, are you, Amon? He's Amon. Aymen. So in Turkey, there are some great universities like Koç University, like a lot of universities in Ankara or Istanbul are great. But there are also a lot of like new universities that do not offer great educational value. I'm afraid to say, and like because the government has been like opening new universities like a lot and a lot of them, like so many of those universities don't really have pretty much any students or like professors or things like that. And there are especially recently some of those universities and quality of education and the reliability of education, higher education in Turkey has been put into question. So, yes, if you can get into one of the better universities in Turkey, they offer great education. We have so many talented people in this country that is giving like insanely good education. But it is not very reliable. It is not like it's not very homogeneous as you would see in, let's say, in Germany perhaps. Also, another thing that even with a full funding scholarship, your friend will probably face is financial issues because Turkey has been going through a lot of economic issues for last, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years. We have a very high inflation rate, which is why it is especially bad for people who are living on a stipend because the thing is like you have a specific stipend, right? Let's say I don't know, like $400 a month. The problem is that you get the same amount of money every month from your scholarship, but things keep getting very much more expensive. Like everything gets more like I don't know, like 40% more expensive, but you're still getting pretty much the same. Can you name few universities? Germany requires 13 years of education, I guess. And yeah, I also heard about inflation Turkey and it's going to yeah. So like for example, Boğaziçi, Koç University, these are great. In Izmir, 9 Eylül or Ege University, which is the university I graduated from, they're good. In Ankara, there is Hacettepe, there is Ankara University. There is hang on, what was the name of that? So yeah, I think like you can see like top some universities for 8 students. Yeah, we're gonna look into that. Like there are a lot of lists, and I think like maybe top 10 universities in Turkey would be kind of worth it because even in spite of a lot of issues, Turkey is still not as expensive as a lot of other countries in Europe or like United States or something like that. And like if you go to a good university, you can get a very good education. And also, I think Turkey is way more lenient when it comes to like trying to work in here. So yeah, I don't think we are as strict as like Germany or United States or something like that. But yeah, money is a real issue. Like other day, I was looking into maybe you know about Big Mac index. For Big Mac index is pretty much like you're looking at the Big Mac prices in different countries since it's a very standardized product, and like you see how expensive the country is, kind of like it gives you an idea based on how expensive Big Mac is. So right now in Turkey, Big Mac is more expensive than like 80% of American states. Like for example, in Texas, you could get a Big Mac more of cheaper than you would get in Turkey. So that's how expensive Turkey is. Keep that in mind. All right. Like right now, minimum wage in Turkey is the like highest level it has been in dollar terms. So like in dollar terms, it's very expensive as well. Just keep that in mind. I just don't want to. I just don't want people to come to Turkey and be disappointed. That's all. Anyway, so I talked way too much about that. So I want to pursue. Hang on, let me see. You said best universities, German demands. Okay. Yeah. There are things to say about government that I would not say in live stream or anywhere else. Basically, people are hearing those type of things. Those type of things. Okay, so I want to pursue undergraduate in CS with specialization in AI and quantum computing. It says Renegade, and then says, can you suggest affordable European countries where UG degrees in CS and AI technology are great? Germany demands 13 years of education, but in India, we stood for 12 years. So how will be? Is that so? Germany demands 13 years of education? I'm not sure how. I don't know. I have a couple of friends who went there to study, and we also have 12 years. Eamon, what do you think about this last question?
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be an issue in particular because they are aware of what countries uh do and their education system. So
Mhm.
it would always be like 13 years or equivalent, which means that if your country offers 12 years, then that would be the equivalent of
Yeah.
13 in another country. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. There are many, many people from India who study in Germany, and it's never an issue.
Also, like if you're interested in seeing how you can apply to any German universities with like 12 years of education from your country, you can look at our tutorials. We have application tutorials for German universities, a couple of them I've made, and like basically you can, or you can look into our tutorial on UniAssist, which you can use to apply to a lot of German universities. Like how can you get your own qualification on par with German qualification? Yeah, that student colleague is also part of that. So, how can we get? Okay, hang on. Not Hex asks, could you suggest best universities for engineering, aim mechanical, or CS who do offer aid to students? Ayman, would you like? Do you have any specific universities that you want to name, or maybe specific insights about this?
Not really. I think the best way to go about it is just search the tool
Right.
because when it comes to specific subjects, I wouldn't really know.
Okay. So what you can do is not hex. Yeah. Um, you can look into our search tool. So when you choose a subject here, let's say mechanical engineering, right? Keep in mind what it does is first it shows you scholarships that specifically mention mechanical engineering, and when it runs out of them, it shows you scholarships that are for all subjects. But in this context, all subjects mean all subjects offered by this university. So if University of New Orleans does not offer mechanical engineering, you cannot obviously apply to this scholarship through that program. All right, you can look into our search tool. Yes, I think we answered that. How can we get scholarships in Europe? Can you state what is the criteria? So criteria, of course, changes based on the scholarship. So like again, there are not that many scholarships in Europe. So for example, when you look at our website and our search tool, right, you'll see a lot of full tuition scholarships in Germany. But these are not really like scholarships in the sense that it is given financial aid, uh, but more like they are just free tuition. Basically, these universities do not charge any tuition fees. So these, for example, you don't have to try and get, like you don't, like in United States, or if you go to basically any country really out of Europe, like Canada, Australia, Korea, Japan, China, Taiwan, doesn't really, New Zealand, doesn't really matter. If you go to those universities, those countries, universities charge tuition, and to be able to get free tuition, like full tuition scholarships, you'll need to get a scholarship, like apply when maybe like by merit or by your like need based, or Hong Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong has very high tuitions as well. So, but in Germany or in a lot of like French universities, Italian universities, let's look at Italy as well. You don't have to do anything. It's just basically free tuition, and you don't have to apply for anything or something like that. Hang on, there was one question that I've skipped. Let me see. Yeah, Not Hex said, I've heard that in Germany, jobs are scarce for non-native speakers. Have to generally work for delivery jobs. Not a bad thing, but still. So yeah, I mean, one thing that one thing about like most recent events is that a lot of English speaking countries has become less attractive because they're less welcoming. So non-English speaking countries, some of them like in Europe for example, are more attractive, but you also don't know the language. But a lot of these countries also offer, they have universities that offer English programs. For example, there are programs in University of Bologna, if I remember correctly, University of Padua. These universities offer English taught programs. We made a lot of videos about those as well. If you're interested in going and studying in a European country in English, and like, because if you don't know the language, in Germany as well, there are a lot of universities offer English taught programs in Germany. Like there's a huge like education opportunity there if you only speak English. So yeah, you can go and do that, but obviously that kind of, regardless of country, if you go to a country and you don't speak the language, and like, yeah, in Europe you don't have to pay tuition in a lot of universities, or tuition is very affordable, but you, if you don't have enough money to kind of like take care of your living expenses, and living expenses can be quite high in Europe as well. For example, in Italy, if you live in a touristic country, touristic city, like go to Venice or like live in Berlin, your living costs might be high, and well, then you can do part-time, you can work part-time jobs, but yeah, they'll be like being a barista, like being a delivery, like doing delivery jobs. But yeah, if you don't know the language, it will be a little bit more difficult. If we get scholarship, then also we have to pay rent for accommodation, food, travel fee, etc. Yeah, so if you, that is true for a lot of like tuition scholarships. Full funding scholarships usually cover at least some of those. Like for example, in the United States, you know what? In Canada, there is a scholarship that is a great scholarship that has just opened for application. Let me show you. Full funding, Canada. In places like Canada, you have to get like a really good scholarship, otherwise it will be very expensive. Lester B. Pearson. Eamon, I think this has opened for application this week. Am I right? Because I don't remember seeing it last week. You have any
Yeah,
information?
probably. I think so, yeah.
So yeah, this is like one of the best scholarships in Canada. It is for bachelors. It's full funding, 37 people. Not that many, but again, uh, full funding scholarships are rare. Uh, it covers tuition fees, it covers book and materials fees, it covers accommodation fees. And accommodation can be pretty much a nightmare in Canada. I had a cousin who lived there, and like rent is just a nightmare. So yeah, you have to again pay like food, travel fee, like there are other stuff as well. For example, insurance. Not everyone, like very few people talk about insurance, but in a lot of countries you have to have student insurance, and very few scholarships cover insurance. There are other stuff. One thing you can do that I really like is, let's say you want to study in University of Bologna, right? Let me hang on. University of Bologna, living costs. You can just Google the university you want to study in, and then living costs. And usually, a lot of universities have those budgets, basically, except all cookies. So basically, they give you kind of like how much it would cost for your rent, your like, as you can see, like a meal, pizza, something like that, bus tickets, city pass, and sometimes they also give you like a budget. You have to have like 800 euros or something like that. And as you can see, there are a lot of different, like for example, application for the issuing renewal of the permit to stay for non-EU students. This is like 120, right? Nobody talks about that, but that can be a really heavy burden. Um, in your opinion, which country Europe is cost effective and great in UG programs? Okay, KAIST well known around the world. Are they just underdogs? One of the concern. Okay, first let's start with Renegade's question. You know what? First, let's start with Morbius' question, because it's been a while since they've asked it. How can I learn writing a personal statement that can win scholarship? So it is really difficult to give you advice on writing a personal statement, because that's such a personal thing. Like that, it has to be your own voice. It is really difficult to give you a structure. And I think last week we talked about that. This was asked, and Eamon, as many weeks before that, said like you shouldn't really look into other people's personal statements or something like that, because then you will be like, it will affect you and you'll probably write something that is not quite your own voice, your own experience. So I don't think there is a really great way to learn that from other people's experiences. But Eamon, would you say anything else about this writing personal statement?
Yeah, so it's the same thing I said last week. And it's the same you have reiterated right now that personal statements are very personal and they need to be that way. So, um, the best thing you can do is just learn the structure, know how to structure your personal letter, but the rest should be on you to write. If you read other people's uh personal letters and then you know that they have won a scholarship, you will definitely be influenced by their experience, and you would somehow try to project that onto yourself. And sometimes it's not fully applicable to your situation, and you'll end up with a personal letter that doesn't really sound sincere or genuine or authentic enough for them to see you as a potential good applicant. So my best advice is just to learn the structure. There are many guides online, and then just write your own story, write about yourself
Mm-hmm.
as a person, as an academic.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. So, Chill asked a very simple question. Let's talk about that very shortly. Is there, I think you mean, is there a maximum age for studying? Not that I'm aware of. Like in Turkey, there aren't. I don't think there is any like to go and study like a bachelor's degree. We hear always hear about like people getting their bachelor's degrees like in their 60s. If you're talking about scholarships, some scholarships do have like maximum age limits. Like for example, it's something like for bachelor level you can apply until like you're 30, for masters 35, and PhD 40. Some scholarships do have that. I don't think all of them do for applying to the scholarship, but I think chances are like if you're I think it's more understandable for universities to like keep their scholarships that are which are very scarce. I mean, I'm sure you'd agree, for more for like younger people who don't have any jobs or something like that. So I think not that many scholarships do have age limits, as far as I can see, but I think like a lot of them would kind of prefer people under certain ages. Eamon, would you disagree?
No, 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 I wouldn't. So for studying, there's never really an age limit. I was on a page yesterday, and I don't really remember what country it was. I think it was Japan, and they had discounts for people over 60 who wanted
Hmm,
to pursue a degree. So
interesting.
there's never an age limit when it comes to studying, but there is an age limit on scholarships, of course. So when it comes to scholarships, there are always age limits. Generally, I think 25 is the limit for bachelor's degree.
Hmm.
Um, 30 is for master's, sometimes 35, and then the maximum for a PhD is 40. Yeah, so these are the only limitations when it comes to studying abroad or in your own country, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, there are no limitations when you're paying, but there are some when you apply for scholarships.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So Renegade asked, in your opinion, which country in Europe is cost effective and great in undergraduate programs in CS AI technology? So I think I can only give information about like being cost effective, because that's usually what I look into when making content, and I also study economics. Um, So I'm gonna give you a website. Uh, you don't even need to know the name. Just living to type in living costs. So Numbeo has a cost of living map. Basically, you can look into this. It's not 100% reliable, but for example, I think like a couple of months ago, um, I asked my cousin. My cousin lives in London. He moved there a couple of years ago, and I asked him like, "Do you think these are accurate, like the numbers in here?" And he said he'd looked into these like this website and these numbers before he moved in, and he said like it's quite reliable, quite accurate. So you can look into these and see like which countries or which cities actually, because cities also differ a lot when it comes to cost of living. You can look into which cities, like you would see places like Spain and Portugal, they would be more the most affordable places in Europe in general, or perhaps Italy. When it comes to education, so I think Italy is kind of does have an advantage in the sense that it has, hang on, it has some really good scholarships that you don't really see in a lot of other European countries. And I'm talking about just like the mainland Europe, because when you add in United Kingdom, things completely change, because United Kingdom kind of is like United States in the sense that it has a lot of scholarships, but also tuition fees are very expensive. Hang on, our Zoom meeting has ended, so I'm gonna have to jump into our next meeting. Sorry about that. So in Germany, one thing that is really good about Germany, I believe, is the fact that they are very specific. Like a lot of people are like when they move into Germany, they complain about how strict and like complicated the bureaucracy is. But also, like German universities are very specific about the financial type side of the situation. So, like if you go there, you know what is going to happen. You know how much you're going to spend. You know how much you're going to need. For example, I think the fact that they have like a blocked account practice is a really good thing, and I believe Italy also has that. I think Eamon told me. Eamon, it was Italy, was it? Also having blocked accounts?
No, I I don't know about Italy. So it's France and
Yeah, France.
Germany.
Sorry, yes, France.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about France. So as you can see, Italy has scholarships. For example, there are some very good scholarships here that we talked about. PEDO, International Excellence Scholarship, and benefits and exemptions for Collegio Superiore are really good. Like these cover pretty much everything. And yeah, these are I think that's the main thing. Like Spain and Portugal is more affordable. France and Germany is very strict, so they're very specific. Italy has a lot of scholarships. Stay away from Switzerland. That these are the things that I would say. Because Switzerland do offer some good scholarships, and their tuitions are not very high, but cost of living is just, I mean, look at this. It's like I don't think you can find anywhere that is more expensive. So yeah, I think that would be might be my take. But also you have asked about like great undergraduate programs for CS and AI, and for that I'm gonna have to defer to Eamon. Eamon, what would you say? Cost effective and great undergraduate programs for CS and AI.
Um, so I guess you have talked about the free countries, and uh, despite being free, you always need to cover your own living expenses. So I don't know
Mm,
if that qualifies as cost effective. The alternative is to go to countries neighboring these countries, like for example, Austria, Poland, where
mm,
tuition fees are cheap to an extent. So sometimes it's as low as 1,500 euros, and where the living is less expensive than France or Germany. So you would get away with living on I guess, 500 euros a month, and it would be fine.
Hmm.
As opposed to Germany, where you would need up
Yeah.
to 1,000. Um, yeah, so rent would be much cheaper. Most utilities would be much cheaper. But you would have to pay some tuition, which is a little bit higher than, say, Germany or France, even though you have to pay a semester contribution in Germany, for example, which is around 300 euros every semester. It's not a big deal, but you still have to pay some. So in comparison, you would pay the difference of 1,200, I guess, in tuition, and
Hmm.
then you would be at an advantage of a cheaper life, and you have lower expenses. So I don't know if which one would be cheaper, but I would assume that being in Austria or Poland or Romania, Hungary, those countries in so Eastern European countries, or to a lesser extent, those that are neighboring the Western ones, uh, are much cheaper when it comes to uh, just living in general. So you'll have to do your research and see which one comes as more cost effective for you, and which one you would consider to be cheaper in the long run. So you'd have to consider that it's going to be at least 2 years for a master's or 4 years for an undergraduate degree, and then see which one will ultimately be cheaper than the others.
All right. Okay. I think that's a good point. Okay. So there are a lot of questions that accumulated. So Not Hex says, are unis like Postec and KAIST well known around the world, or are they just underdogs? One of concerns is not to go thousands of miles far, only just to get a degree equivalent to 269 uni back at home. That is a good question. Um, well known around the world. Eamon, what would you say to this question?
Um, of course they are. I think KAIST and FOSTEC are both very well known universities, very reputed universities, and their
Mhm.
degrees are recognized in many countries. So you will have a very respected degree if you get it from one of these universities. I think they rank really high, um, probably in the 1% even of
Mhm.
universities in the world. So they are very well known countries and recognized by uh, all countries.
Right. Um, so I'm not sure if they meant like underdogs, or is in like not known enough, or they're just um anyway, I think that that answers the question. Also, you can look into like world university rankings as well. That might help you a little better. How should we prepare to get accepted in scholarship? What if you understand English well but can't write well? In this case, should you write your essay and statements in your native language first? Ask Morbius, who also asked us about how to write a personal statement. Eamon, what would you say to this one?
Yeah, but then what's the next step? As in translate what you have written? I don't know. Like I don't know how I feel about writing something in one language, then translating it to another. Many things are lost in translation because more some languages are more expressive than others when it comes to word use and just the overall structuring of ideas. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea to uh, write something in one language, then translate it into another. I think the best thing you can do is just write it in English and then have people give you feedback. Uh, if you know anyone whose English is really good, then maybe they can go through it and give you some pointers on how to say things better than you have. That is the best approach because at least you have written it in English and it's easy to go through. But if you have translated it, it would come off as a translation. So
Hmm.
that is most of the time the case. You can tell that something is translated rather than just written in that language in the first place. So this is my advice. Maybe just write it, even if it's bad, and then get feedback and to get people to just uh, go through it and give you pointers.
Yeah, I also think that like if you are planning to go in and study in that language, I think it's kind of like better to try to force yourself to have like get more practice in thinking in that language, expressing yourself in that language, because otherwise, like going there and studying in that language would be very difficult. Could you apply to university in the United States doing medicine to show us how to do it? Full funding scholarship. Are those two questions like one together? So we have made tutorials about studying to universities in applying to universities in the United States. You usually can do that through Common App. We can look into some of those. I think the most recent one was Harvard. So when it comes to full funding scholarships, usually application procedures can really like for scholarships in general, application procedures can be very different. Like it is really difficult to go through the whole application procedure in a tutorial, because like a lot of times first you have to get admitted to the university to be able to apply for a scholarship. In that case, I can't like get admitted to the university to be able to make a tutorial. Like I prefer not committing fraud to make a tutorial. But there are also in United States, there also you have these financial aid programs. You see, and basically you apply, like you tell the university that you need financial aid, and you tell the university that while applying, like while going through the whole Common App procedure, and then you would create something called a CSS profile, and then like give them information about your financial status as well, etc., etc. So yeah, we've made a couple of tutorials. You can look into those. Doing medicine, I don't think medicine. I'm not sure if medicine programs are um, like they have different procedures in every university. Um, Ayman, is that so? For example, I've made tutorials applying to American universities, through Common App. Is there something like medical universities don't accept application through Common App or something like that? I don't know much about that.
Um, there are some, yeah, that don't, but sometimes the med school is within the university itself and it
Hmm.
does accept it. So it's just a case by case thing.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, making tutorials about applying to scholarships is quite difficult. There are some universities that, like, when you apply to the university, scholarship application is done. For example, I think KAIST was like that. So, other than that, it's not really that easy. I know these unis are one of the best. Yeah, just wanted to know the recognition outside. Thanks for the answer. You're very welcome. Is Russia cost effective? I don't think we've ever talked about Russia in this channel in any one of our live streams. So when you talk about being cost effective, I don't think just about being affordable, but also like the recognition and the quality of education as well. Because like otherwise, the most cost effective country is your own country, of course. So I don't really know much about the. I mean, I know the Russia is way more affordable compared to a lot of other countries in Eastern Europe, Central Europe, etc. But I don't know much about the education quality, so I'm going to defer to Ayman on that. Ayman, what do you think? We've never talked about Russia. I mean, not surprising since they're going through a war, but like maybe you have something
Yeah.
to say.
Uh, yeah, I've gone through a few universities in Russia just to um see the tuition fees, and they've actually lowered their tuition fees even though the ruble is doing much worse
Mm-hmm.
than it used to. So I think it's much cheaper than many countries right now, and they're trying to encourage international students to come there. But I don't know, given the political tensions and how unstable uh, the whole region is, I'm not sure if I would recommend going to Russia, at least in the foreseeable future. But if you would like to, it is much cheaper than probably all the countries that are in the air in that region. So that is something to consider.
Yeah, I think so. You can get uh, like quality education in a very affordable way, uh, but there's a war. I guess that's the main point. Um, so another one. I've emailed it to a supervisor, but he didn't reply. So what do I do now? Um, Amen, is the meaning of this question apparent to you? Can you answer this, or should we ask for more uh, detail?
I can only assume they're applying for a research program where they would need a supervisor to actually accept their uh, research project, whether it's a master's or a PhD program. And the person or the supervisor they have contacted never got back to them. It's not unheard of, but I think that the best approach is to always try different teachers at different universities and see which ones would be open to supervise you or would be even open to work on your project. That is usually how it's done. So you don't only contact one professor and then bank on them accepting your project because for all you know, when they reply, they will say no, and then you're out of options. So it's better to email many professors and increase your chances of uh, being accepted or being supervised by someone instead of just relying on only one person from one university.
Okay, thank you very much. Renegade says Tsinghua and Peking University in China are top ranked. Yeah, they're very good universities, like elite universities in China, and we've made tutorials about them as well. Application. Do they have high acceptance rate for foreign students? I wouldn't know. Eamon, do we have any information about that? Do you think?
I'm really not sure. So we have information about acceptance uh rates for many universities, but I'm not sure about universities in China in particular. I would assume that the acceptance rate is moderate. It's not bad. It's not like very high, but it's going to be within the 50%.
Okay, I think we've made. I think we have a guide about that as well. Private universities. Universities. Do you mean as in like a guide about exception rates or acceptance rates, or as in our admission results?
Oh no, we have pages for acceptance rates.
Right. Uh, Employability. I don't think we have. Yeah, I don't think we have one for China. Okay, moving on. Is getting certificates from Harvard CS50 online courses counted as an extracurricular activity? How much can it help? Eamon, what do you think? I wouldn't know anything about this one really.
No, I don't think it would count as an extracurricular activity. It would be more experience around the subject, but it's not an extracurricular activity at all. Um, Extracurricular activities generally revolve around activities that involve more than things you can do by yourself at home. It's more about your leadership skills and many soft skills rather than a course that you can take at home. So this is just more experience, more knowledge about the subject in question, but definitely not an extracurricular.
Okay, thank you very much. So, apparently, we have guides for acceptance rates in both Peking and Tsinghua, literally the only two universities you asked. You also, I think, you'll have to assure people that you are not a paid actor, and this is just a coincidence that we've guides for both these universities. But you can look into those renegades. I'm not sure if they're specifically talking about acceptance rates for foreign students, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in there. Are IITM certifications counted? I did do a final project on data science where we had to create a model. So these questions are getting crazy detailed. Like I have no idea. I'm starting to have difficulty understanding the questions. So I'm gonna start to defer to Eamon quite a lot. Eamon, what do you think about this?
I feel like there's a missing part to this question because would it count for what?
IIT Madras. Does it help?
So I'm not as extracurricular. Um, Maybe, but again, I don't see it as an extracurricular. I think you could go to our recipient stories section and then go through a few stories and see uh what people did as extracurriculars. Um, because extracurriculars are not really um things that you do yourself, basically. So maybe you need to see the stories to have a good idea about what is considered as an extracurricular.
Okay, so scholarship success stories, we didn't talk about those in this live stream, but basically, global scholarships reaches out to a lot of scholarship earners, right? These people, for example, uh, you can see the scholarships here that they've earned, and global scholarships gets them to tell their stories for other students who want to get those scholarships. Like for example, this person, um, you can see they're like in London University, they got their degree and their scholarship, and you can read about their journey, read about their educational background, and all of that. And even more so, you can contact them to get like direct information through LinkedIn. I'm gonna share the link with you for this. You can filter for country, filter for funding, nationality. Usually these would be like fully funded scholarships because those are the ones that people are very interested in, and they're difficult to get. Especially like if you're interested, I believe if you're interested in scholarships like government scholarships, very generous scholarships, very competitive scholarships. I think getting as much information from the earners, from people who have earned won those scholarships are really helpful. Can you also provide link for acceptance rate of some good German public universities? You can find it yourself in guides section. We have country guides, and here we have in Europe we have Germany. Basically, we have like these collection of guides about a country that like go that goes through pretty much everything. Let's see, acceptance. We have 7 universities in Germany with high acceptance rates. So let me share the link with you for this one. You might be interested in this. Schiller, Berlin, Ludwig. This is a great university, by the way, Ludwig Maximilian. Freiburg, Heidelberg. This is also a really good university. And Leipzig. I want scholarship for MBBS. I'm from Afghanistan. So you can just look into our search tool to find scholarships that are interesting for you. But like mainly without any context, all you can do is just to give you our search tool. Here you can just like if you have a country in mind, you have a program in mind, a university in mind, you can just type them in, or without typing anything in, you can just hit enter. We have all these scholarships. You can choose your degree, let's say bachelor, you might be interested. No, MBS. So let's say master's. And for nationality, you can choose Afghanistan. But you'll see that a lot of a lot of scholarships don't really care about your nationality. Usually they are for all nationalities. Sometimes they are for specific nationalities. As you can see, these are humanitarian scholarships. Of course, if you can go for scholarships that are specifically targeted to your country, your nation, or like your general area region, it would increase your chances. So I think you can look into United Kingdom as well. The United Kingdom has a lot of like humanitarian access scholarships as well. So yeah, let me share the link with you. You can just click on any one of these to see like the whole like coverage, eligibility criteria. Just go in, have a look, and if anything piques your interest, you can ask us through our comment section. I can't always answer every question in the comment section. We're here every Friday. You can come and ask, or what the best thing to do would be just leave your question here and leave a comment section, because he only answers every question here. He really answers every question. I'm not exaggerating a bit. So let's see if we can get a full. Yeah, for example, this one, right? So yeah, can we get joint scholarship in both UG and PG programs? I'm not sure if there's a wholesale rule about that. Eamon, what do you think?
Um, I actually don't get the question. Is it at the same time? Because you can't apply to 2 degrees at the same time in the first place, so I'm not sure how that would work. If you mean you get a scholarship in your undergraduate degree, then you have a chance of getting one as a postgraduate, then yes, but at the same time, I don't think so.
Yeah. Also,
Unless
there are
it's oh, sorry.
no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, unless you already have an undergraduate degree, you want to pursue a second one, and you apply to university as an undergraduate, then you apply to another one for a master's degree with your previous degree. So you're applying to 2 universities, one for an undergraduate degree, which is a second one, and then the other one you're applying for a postgraduate degree, and you get 2 scholarships, then there's nothing against that. But within the same university, and if you don't already have an undergraduate degree, it's not possible.
Yeah, there are also some scholarships that require you to not be receiving another scholarship as well. I think China has a lot of those scholarships. Okay, guys, I think I'm gonna end the live stream here. Thank you very much for joining in. If you have any other questions, just type them in. quickly. Otherwise, we're going to end the live stream. Thank you very much for joining in today. It's great to see you guys here. If you're watching this on VOD, thank you for watching. We're here every Friday. We're here to talk about like scholarships, about studying abroad. I'm just here as the host. I'm not an expert. I'm just a layman. Here we have our expert. That's why he's here to answer your questions. So we are here every Friday to answer your questions, to help you as best as we can. Um, Other than that, Eamon, thank you very much for joining in today.
Um, yeah, thank you. So just now that I thought about it, I think the certification would count as an extracurricular if they're still here, because they had to work on the project itself, which I think
Morbius.
would be yeah, it would be considered. I'm not sure who it was, but it would be considered as an extracurricular as opposed to the Harvard course, which definitely wouldn't.
Oh, I see. I see. You're talking about the second question. Okay. Well, thank you again, everybody. See you next Friday, and have a nice week. Bye.